Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Awaken.
Yes, I'm awake.
Good
I'm
morning.
choking on my spit. Awaken's
Nice.
a the whole spell for the PHB. This is iconic. I love Awaken so much. It's hands down one of the dumbest spells ever printed. So it's got an 8-hour cast time, which is a lot. Its range of touch requires verbal static material components, including an agate worth at least 1,000 gold, which the spell consumes. Instantaneous duration, so you spend 8 hours and then you get a effect that lasts forever. After spending the casting time tracing magical pathways with a precious gemstone, you touch a huge or smaller beast or plant. The target must have either no intelligence score or an int of 3 or less. The target gains an int of 10. The target also gains the ability to speak one language you know. If the target is a plant, it gains the ability to move its limbs, roots, vines, creepers, and so forth. And it gains senses similar to a human's. Your DM chooses statistics appropriate for the awakened plant, such as that of an awakened shrub or tree. The awakened beast or plant is charmed by you for 30 days or until you and your companions do anything harmful to it. When the charm condition ends, the awakened creature chooses whether to remain friendly to you based on how you treated it while it was charmed. Which everything past the second paragraph is fluff. They didn't need any of that, but I love that it's here.
Oh, I don't know. It is charmed for you. That's something.
Sure. This
But
is this is a spell to codify that stupid potted plant your bard's been bringing around with them for 14 sessions as the party mascot. This is when you take the pig that the halfling ranger's been riding around with their pitchfork from the farmstead, and you want it to be a member of the party, you awaken it. And normally that's a disastrous result. Normally only its personality ends up being hilarious or stupid or angry or something you're not quite expecting. This is the kind of spell that gives you beings such as Stagnar the Stagnificent, which was a randomly our ranger decided to, because in the playtest our ranger found Drew. I think he was a ranger in the playtest. He found a druid to do this for him, where he spent an agate and 8 hours, and he picked a stag, and he just made it his buddy. And Stagnar the Stagnificent galloped around and did very little because he was an awakened stag in the upper tiers, but it was just funny, and he said quippy remarks, and he talked in a Victorian England accent, and it was bad Victorian England accent because I was one doing it. So it was pointless yet incredible. And one of the few things I remember from my original 120 campaign. And for that reason, I can't recommend Awaken enough. It's not going to do much of anything important, but it's going to be really fun to use.
I mean, I don't know. It could do important things, but I found it more horrifying than fun to use. I'm, it's got rules for plants, but if you're a plant that becomes self-aware, life sucks.
Feed me, Seymour. You get to move around. You become humanoid-ish.
Yeah, but you're still a plant.
Why does life suck to be a plant, Bob? You just get to bask in chlorophyll, absorb those rays, get nice and well fed by just existing. It's great.
I know, but I want to do things. I want to,
You can do things.
I don't know.
You can get a job. You can join society. You can get an education. The world's your oyster.
Where am I going to find love,
I don't know.
Sam?
You're gonna learn. You're gonna become a druid yourself.
I need somebody else to make a plant bride for me, and
Listen,
then she's not going to like me.
This is the strat. You awaken a shrub, or better yet, you're playing as an awakened shrub, and your goal is to gain levels in the druid class to the point where you can awaken a potential partner. That's the whole campaign arc for your awakened shrub, is just searching for the magic to make another person because you're really lonely. I think that's adorable and a very fun concept for a character.
All right. At least, all right, plants, they get to move around, be kind of humanish. What if you're like a fish in a bowl?
Then they're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
There's something deeply messed up about giving something sentient, sticking it in a fishbowl, and carrying it around with you for all of time. At the same time, if we remember,
if you're a fish not in a bowl, that's even worse.
That is way worse. So,
you're in the ocean, self-aware, you're never gonna. You can squirt eggs or however they made, but you're in constant fear of your life.
Sure.
You can't reason with bigger fish.
I'm envisioning instead you take levels in the wizard class and you get things like Unseen Servant and Find Familiar, and you just sort of build yourself your own magical robot's body that is just of magic effects. So, right, so you're like a sentient fish in a fishbowl that has an Unseen Servant that carries you around everywhere, that has Mage Hand to like interact with stuff outside the world where you're just like moving your fins around, moving, getting your feed or whatever and sprinkling in your thing. You change your own water and stuff. You pick yourself up out of it because you have almost no weight, and you like drop yourself in another bucket and you prep all that. You got tiny servants running around you. I don't know. I love this. This seems super whimsical and fun, and I would build the hell out of this character.
Oh, it just seems scary to me. Like, yeah, you're worried about bigger fish eating you all the time, but then you say, "Well, I can't blame them because that's what I'm doing to subsist." I'm
Sure.
eating these little tinier fish. I feel terrible about it.
Bob, is this why you only play humans? Is because you just have an existential crisis when you think of the logistics of any other fantasy races?
That might be part of it.
I
Oh,
choose to view it as delightful and whimsical. I think
you're
Awaken is
talking about
a really fun spell.
Sam. Tell me you've seen Megamind.
I have. I'm talking about the fish.
Okay.
Exactly that fish.
Minion. Yes. Okay. Good.
I was going to bring up exactly that fish before
All
I
right.
got distracted on my tangent. But yes.
Well, it sounds like you were talking about exactly that fish. All right.
Built his own robot body. It's fine. He's having a great time.
Yeah.
And
All right.
he's a
In
great
that case,
character.
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Megamind.
Listen, I'm not here to advocate that you go pester your DM to let you do this, because this is definitely a gimmick that probably works for a one shot and that's about it. Like, I wouldn't stretch this to be a full campaign or characters because the level of gimmick here is very, very high. That being said, it is a pretty funny gimmick for a one shot. So, like, maybe you want to talk to your DM about doing some kind of nonsense with it. But if you're casting the spell as like just a practical player thing, 8 hours and 1,000 gold for a beast of any CR could be really good. You have to be able to like touch it after 8 hours. So conceivably you can get like giant apes and stuff. So maybe you can do some munchkin stuff with this, like build your own army of awakened giant apes, and then they form a society and you have Planet of the Apes happening now. Okay, I can see where this gets a little bit existential and scary, but you have those kinds of options.
Actually, I am thinking now, if you could get druid levels as the awakened creature, then you could wild shape into not a freak for a little while.
You say that, but you still be turning into other animals. You could just
What's
be like,
that?
I was a fish, now I'm a ferret. And you spend most of your time as a ferret that can't speak anymore.
You can't be a person?
I don't think you so humanoids don't quantify as beasts for the D&D rules.
So sad.
You can turn into a monkey?
Yeah, that's something.
I'm glad that you're really caught up on this. Cats love being cats. If you awaken a cat, it's gonna have a great time.
Yeah, cats are a different game altogether. That's fine.
But you're specifically caught up on fish.
Fish and plants.
I don't think you should be caught up on plants. I think an animate sunflower running around with little leaf hands and cute little root feet, it sounds like a great time to me.
This
is how you get treant buddies. This is how you get all kinds of really busted CR options, conceivably. I don't think it's going to happen that often just because the cost is fairly high and the method of doing it is largely silly. So, like, these aren't obedient servants. These are just charmed creatures, and you can't, like, do things harmful to them or they're no longer charmed and, GTFO.
Well,
so
if you're spending that kind of money and time and effort to awaken something, you don't want to beat it to death. I mean, you could do that while it's a tree.
Sure, but I just making the min-maxing of this work becomes harder because of that, right? You being having to be nice to things makes it harder for you to make an army of them, but you can still conceivably do that within 30 days.
I don't know if that's what this is for.
It's not, but it's something you can do with the spell.
What is this for?
It's for Stagnar the Stagnificent. It's for creating a stupid party mascot PC guy that you just stick a bunch of intelligence on, don't think about the consequences of it, and then have it be the comic relief character for the remainder of the campaign. That's the bulk of what Awaken does really well, and it is exceptional at doing that.
All right, I got to use an exceptionally spiteful warlock, and you just want somebody to suffer more than you, so you awaken your pet fish.
Or, well, you can't treat it. I guess you can treat it hostilely. What's it gonna do? It's a fish.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. You can treat it as nice as you want. The mere act of keeping it alive is cruelty.
I think it would get bored But I think it would, like, if you could like stimulate it mentally with books and stuff, you could, again, teach a mage hand, and then it can browse library books while ever you're out and about. I don't think the life as a fish is that bad in a world full of magic. Especially if you can go in the ocean and you are not the smallest fish. If you're the smallest fish in the ocean, you're gonna have a bad time. But
Oh, this I can't believe we're still talking about this.
I'm not the one who's bringing it up.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. What else do we say about this spell?
I don't know. It's really fun.
Yeah.
If you find an agate mine, there's a lot of fun things to be had with it. Like, you can just run around for a couple of weeks and just be like, I awaken the forest. That's pretty cute. You also, the world building implications of Awaken are kind of terrifying, because it's just like, well, there could just be a society of sentient foxes that could just exist. Maybe there was a really eclectic druid that just went out into the woods one week and was like, I like foxes, and I've stolen all these agates from this mine. I'm just going to awaken every critter I see. And then you have just this hierarchy of like red wall style sentient little animals running around with their own societies and stuff, and their weapons and all that fun stuff. Now, it doesn't say they're...
That's DM world building tool stuff there.
Absolutely. It doesn't say their offspring specifically do it, so it's like temporary. Like, the society is only as good as the longest longest lived creature, right?
That's even sadder.
Right.
You and your sentient fox wife, you have this baby, and
It's just a regular fox.
It's like mentally disabled compared to you. That's
Inches 2 and you're inches 10. Listen, then you have to, I think in that society, you have to accept that you need to be able to awaken things. Like, the birth of a new creature into this society requires agates. Alternatively, there's always the option. I think this is one of the most fun options. So because the D&D spell components care about their relative value in gold pieces, if you can somehow tank the agate market, you can make it so agates are dirt cheap, not tank the agate market, spike it so that agate's really, really expensive. It's agate or agate. Commenters, let me know which pronunciation is correct. You could then conceivably have a little tiny, like, just a giant wealth of agates that you're just sitting on that are now artificially inflated to be outrageously expensive, so smaller amounts of them are worth 1,000 gold, and then you can use the 1,000 gold version of the tinier rock to get the same effect.
Yeah, that's sure. I'm not really concerned with the economic
spellcasting.
That's not for this particular spell. That is an interesting topic to cover in and of itself.
Talking about economics of spellcasting components.
Yeah, absolutely. I've wondered about this before. All these things that say it has to be worth at least this much gold pieces. Like, that's subjective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if I give this to somebody and they say, well, I don't really want it, or just listen, dude, just pay me 5,000 for this, so I'll give you the money back later.
Yeah, I need a diamond specifically that's worth $5,000, please.
Oh, what was I gonna say?
This would get into, like,
yeah, I had a fun idea.
Mm-hmm.
That was inspired by something you said. All right, you get your 5th level spell.
Yeah.
You awaken 2 foxes. You want to be friendly.
Sure.
And they scurry off into the forest and live happy lives until later on, like a year later in the campaign, they show up again. They have a child, and they say, "You son of a bitch, you better work your magic again.
Make our son like us, please."
Yes. That's
crawling on hands and knees. Maybe then you just have like this
or they had a
society
litter
of jaded animals.
Yeah, they had a whole litter. So now your quest, and they've got the means to destroy you if you don't live up to their expectations. So
These
now you got to go
10 foxes have the means to destroy you after a year. Yep.
They've been
Hustling.
working on their revenge.
Okay, got it.
They are on their plan. So yeah, and now you have to go find all these gems and cast the spell. That's your mission.
Sure. I think there's, beyond that horrifying scenario, lots of cool world building stuff you can do with Awaken. I'd recommend messing around with it. I think that's where Awaken at its best. I think where it's at its second best is as a mascot creator, and it's pretty close. Those two are like, it's not way better as world creation. It's also a pretty excellent mascot creator. But beyond that, like metagaming Min-maxing Munchkinning it, yeah, you can do min-maxing Munchkinning stuff with all kinds of stuff. Awaken technically counts, but you can probably Awaken do other more buster things like create undead and whatnot. So I'm not crazy about Awaken as a powerful spell. I think it is hella fun though, and I would recommend you to prepare it once as a druid. Bards, it's a little bit harder, but like, find that special potted plant, find that special, maybe the horse you've been traveling with for all these years, you awaken, and he finally has some harsh words for how he's been treated, having to lug around all your crap all this time. You can get a really great story out of Awaken, and I highly recommend it for that reason.
All right. Well, you got a rating for this one?
5 out of 5. I love this spell. This is possibly my favorite spell in D&D. I don't care if it's not that good. This deserves the 5. It's so much fun. Awaken is stupid. It has wild world building implications. You can do some powerful stuff with it if you can, like you awaken 20 giant apes and are running around with it, a whole bunch of people throwing fists. But more importantly, the spell will build memories that you will remember for a very long time. And that, especially a spell you can just prepare and forget it later, is just so high value. I cannot give it a 5. This is incredible.
I guess you have to either give it a 1 or a 5.
Yeah, it's
There's
kind of
no real middle ground here. It's not useful at all.
No,
but there's fun potential. And all right, I'm not going to give it a 1 while you give it a 5. That's never going to happen on this channel. Probably
5s all around.
Yeah, 5s all around. All right.
Yes.
All right, that was Awaken. Yes, thank you, Sam, and thank you all for joining us. If you have any great Awaken stories, leave them in the comments. Let us know what you think. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.